as is par for the course for this bowl season so far, it giveth and it taketh away. Good news, giveth to us right after Christmas. Zach LaVine is out of health and safety protocols. He's back in the lineup. Ayo Dosunmu, same thing, back in the lineup. That's a good way to kind of get past Christmas and say, you know what, we want a little gift here because this is a good season for the Bulls and we want to see it continue to be good. But of course, giveth, it taketh away. Humbug on your ass. Billy Donovan, the head coach, out due to COVID, meaning that assistant Chris Fleming steps in to take over the helm on Sunday night. And then, of course, the one guy that you thought might escape all of this free and clear, but maybe again, better to get it done and out of the way now, Lonzo Ball tests positive, and he ends up in the COVID health and safety protocol, so he's out of the lineup for who knows how long. Holy Christ! And now you've got Caruso's also out because of leg injury. You still got a couple of other guys out due to COVID. What a mess this is. But all the while, the Bulls are doing more than enough to keep the head above the fray. They're doing more than enough to put themselves into a position to be a real contender in this Eastern Conference. But at some point in time, it'd be nice for this team to be back to full strength again. That's all I'm going to say here. But Sunday night, it's the Bulls' first action in several days, and for them, it's a chance to get some revenge on another team that beat them earlier this season in the Indiana Pacers, and this was their worst loss of the season when they faced Indiana the first time. If you remember, the Pacers just came out of the gate and stomped them, and it was never really a contest. Like, it was bad. So you were hoping for the Bulls that you get a big shot in the arm, getting LaVine back, getting Ayo back. No, you don't have Lonzo. That sucks. Donovan's out. But you're thinking, okay, they'll come out and they'll be ready and they'll play well against this Pacers team because they know that this Pacers team could take them out to the woodshed. And to the Bulls' credit, on Sunday night they did. Came out well in the first quarter. They were up 33-27 after one. They shot 60% from the field and from three in the first. You had Vucevic leading the way with 8. LaVine had 7. So he wasn't showing a lot of rust in this one, that's for sure. For the Pacers, Sabonis had 7 and LeVert had 6 for Indiana. But, you know, it was a good start for the Bulls, efficient shooting performance. And if it was going to keep up that way, you were hoping it was going to be a good night for the Bulls. In the second quarter, they shot even better from the field. At the end of the first half, they were 63% from the field and 50% from 3 on 12 attempts. They were up 63-48. Vucevic, played well in the second quarter as well. He had 13 points at the half. LaVine had 12, and DeRozan had 9. So you're looking at this game, and you're saying for the Bulls, man, this is a pretty good start. And you're still missing a couple of key guys in Ball and Caruso. Could have been a lot worse. Not taking this team for granted. That was my biggest thing. I wanted to see them not take this team for granted and learn from the mistakes of the last matchup and come into this one raring to go. And that's exactly what they did. For the Pacers, Sabonis led the way at half with 12. LeVert still had 9, and Miles Turner had 8. Indiana's biggest problem was they just weren't very efficient shooting from the field in the first half. They were only 42% from the field and 3 of 12 from 3. So I'm looking at this game, though, and saying at halftime, yes, I know you're a little depleted, but you're up 15. You've got to put this Pacers team away. And that is something that this Bulls team is struggling to do in spots, is not putting away these teams when they've got this type of lead on them at some point. You're up 15 at the half. You need to make this a three-quarter game, basically meaning that you're going to be able to sit your starters in the fourth, get guys rest, get other guys some action. Who knows who you're going to have to count on this season. And they just didn't do that here. So a little annoying. The Pacers whittled away a little bit of that lead for sure in the third quarter. The Bulls were only up 87-79 after 3, which certainly means it was a ball game at that point. Big problem for the Bulls in the third. They went a little cold from the field, only shot 41% from the field. Also a little sloppy, 6 turnovers in the quarter, which the Pacers took advantage of. They shot a little bit better from the field in the third quarter. They were 52% from the field. Chris Duarte in particular had a nice third quarter. He helped lead a bit of a surge there for the Pacers. He had 12 points in the stanza. Miles Turner added 7. And I think the one thing you saw here, Duarte in the third quarter and LeVert in the fourth quarter, is that the Bulls' perimeter and wing defense is going to be impacted as long as Ball and Caruso are out. that doesn't necessarily surprise anybody, certainly. You're talking about two potential first-team All-NBA defensive caliber guys this year that are out of your lineup. Obviously, your perimeter defense is going to take a hit. But you saw just how big and significant that defensive hit was in the second half of this game. Because in the fourth quarter, Caris LeVert got on fire. He had 16 points in the quarter. He did everything he could to try to bring this Pacers team back. But fortunately for the Bulls, LaVine was the closer on this night. He was great in the fourth quarter. He had 12 points, and they had just enough. They ended up holding off that surge from the Pacers and won this game 113-105. Zach LaVine, in his first game back after being out for a couple of weeks, had 33 points to lead the way. DeMar DeRozan finished with 24. Nikola Vucevic with 16 points and 15 rebounds. Meanwhile, for the Pacers, LeVert, on the heels of that very strong fourth quarter, had 27 points. Miles Turner with 19. Chris Duarte, again, with that big third quarter for the Pacers, finished with 16. And then Domantas Sabonis with 14 points and 16 rebounds. Coming into this matchup, this is one of these teams, in theory, even though the Pacers were out Malcolm Brogdon, you look at this Pacers team with Sabonis, with Turner, and this was a team that gave him trouble the last time, and that size gave him a lot of problems the last time. And you look at Sabonis, like, he had a big game here, 14 points and 16 rebounds. So you're worried a little bit from a matchup standpoint while saying, the Pacers are not a great team. The matchup is not great. So I'm very pleased to see that the Bulls were able to come in and ultimately handle business against a team that just fundamentally is not a very good matchup for them. And pretty much have control of this game from the beginning to the end. Like, even though the Pacers got it close in the fourth quarter and had some surges and made some runs, it was never really truly in doubt. Maybe a little worried, but never truly in doubt. The Bulls controlled this game, and that was good to see. It was also good to see Ayo back in the lineup. Also great to see Zach LaVine back in the lineup, obviously. As they go forward over the next couple of weeks, I'd like to see Coby White get a little less playing time. I would assume we'll get a little more playing time because one of them is better than the other, and it's not Coby White better than Ayo Dosunmu. I freaking promise you that. We can all see that. We all have eyes. We all know this. But for Ayo's first game back, I understand. But we got to be sensible here. I'm less concerned about if Coby starts or not. Who cares? I care about who gets more minutes and when they get those minutes. Ayo is just a better player, and he's a better fit for this team. And especially with Lonzo and Caruso out, while Kobe's perimeter defense and on-the-ball defense has improved a little bit, there's a big difference between him and Ayo Dosunmu for sure. But this was a good performance for the Bulls. It wasn't a great performance. Like I said, I would have loved to have seen them be able to take care of business in that third quarter and put this team away. But you could see that lack of Lonzo and that lack of Caruso really having a negative impact on their perimeter defense. And we'll see how this plays out over the next week or two. Next up for the Bulls, they take on the Atlanta Hawks on Monday night. We'll see if there even is a game based off of the number. I think it's like 9 or 10 Hawks currently are in the COVID protocols. Hopefully they do have enough players to be able to play a game, so that way maybe the Bulls can sneak out an easy victory. But those are exactly the types of games that you got to be concerned with, because you'll be having guys that getting opportunities and they go out there and make the most of it. They have nothing to lose. They play with no fear. The Bulls come in potentially a little complacent. Like, these can be trap games. You look at all the guys that are out for Atlanta and you say, man, I feel pretty good about this one. You got this one in the bag. And those are exactly the damn games that you should be worried about. But here, my credit to the Bulls. A team continuing to figure out a way to deal with adversity, and that's what they're doing. Even though I would have liked to have seen them put this Pacers team away in the third quarter, they still, for a depleted team, got the job done. And for that, I am happy. And it's just good to see Bulls basketball.